Okay, so yeah, first of all, hopefully I'm recording this, so fingers crossed I'll be putting this on YouTube. I'm mixed recording it for Winifred as well. So are you just recording the audio?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we've got all bases covered here. So first of all, thank you all for coming. You know, I know a lot of you are here from my last talk, so you know how bad I am. So thank you for coming. Secondly, I know what the term death by PowerPoint means. I haven't done a PowerPoint presentation for about 12 years, so you'll have to excuse the fonts and everything because I'm using the iPad. So don't expect a professional job on the actual PowerPoint itself. So, as I've already said, my talk tonight is Forensic Hypnosis in alien abduction cases. So first of all, we need to know what forensic hypnosis is. And I need to distinguish forensic hypnosis from regression hypnosis, because technically forensic hypnosis is regression hypnosis, but regression hypnosis is not necessarily forensic hypnosis. So the difference being is regression hypnosis, including past life regressions and future life progressions, are therapeutic in nature. So the hypnotist regarding the regression hypnosis is sort of main reason for hypnotising that person is to get some healing. So he'll give suggestions, giving healing in the form of knowledge, wisdom, or some kind of, how can I put it, some kind of reason why they've got what they've got, or why they've actually requested going into a past life, or why they've requested them to going back in a regression. So the hypnotist will give suggestions to guide them to the best possible outcome, or best possible therapeutic outcome. Forensic hypnosis is purely to get information. It's not therapeutic at all. And as the word suggests, it can be used in conjunction with a PIA or PIO, which is Primary Investigative Authority or Primary Investigative Officer. And that evidence can be used in court. So it's an accurate way of retrieving a memory. And the reason why it's accurate is because the forensic hypnotist will use what's known as clean language. So clean language means that it's free from any possible suggestions, whereas the regression hypnotist, unless he's been trained by forensic hypnosis, he might, it'll be more focused on giving suggestions to help the healing processes. So it's a bit complicated on retrieving memory, because we need to know what memory is. And there's something called false memory syndrome. We're all prone to actually getting false memories. So, for example, say 12 people witnessed an incident, and the police interviewed all 12 people. They might give 12 different recollections on what the people were wearing, and all other different things, but them 12 people aren't lying. It's just how the brain processes the memory retrieval. And so to make it, obviously, it's a very complex way of what the brain actually does with regards to memory. But memory is recalling a perception. Now, when we are perceiving things...
So, in the real memory,
yeah,
we've just said it's flawed.
We've just said flawed, yeah.
Flawed. Is the forensic hypnosis better then?
Yeah.
So that doesn't have the...
Yeah, I'll explain that a bit more now, because with regards to memory is retrieving something that's already happened, that's something we've already experienced or perceived. But how perception works is that we are inputted with all this information through our five senses, and so visual perception is with our eyes, but we don't actually see with our eyes. Our eyes just are letting all the light waves or frequencies or whatever it is, and then that light wave, all them light waves hit the back of the rods and the cones, and then that gets transferred into the information which goes down travels along the optic nerve to the occipital lobe at the back of your brain. And then when that information hits the back of your brain, it causes a neuronic reaction. So all these neurons are firing, all these synapses are being made, and it looks like little lightning strikes. And it's like little road maps, all these little things. So it's like you're receiving probably billions of bits of information every second, and that's creating all these different road maps, if you like, and then it's those road maps that get translated into an image. So you're actually seeing with your brain, not your eyes. Your brain actually creates an image.
So I haven't got bad eyes.
No. well, that's the thing as well. It's like when you say about bad eyes, it's usually something to do with the actual information not getting through to the optical nerves. So it might be damaged retina or something. But if you get a blow to the back of your head, you could actually lose your sight because your occipital lobe is there. And but the thing is, it's like your brain actually creates these images. And obviously I'm trying to oversimplify a very, very complex thing. And so because everybody's got a unique brain, everybody's brain's different, that'll mean everybody's neuronic pathways will be different. So if I picked up this and said, what's this? We can all agree that this is a beer bottle. But that's because we've been conditioned to see this as a beer bottle. But if you were able to see through my brain, you'd most likely see this as something different to what I'm seeing it as. Yeah, because the light information that's bouncing off that bottle gets interpreted differently to me than it will to anybody else. So we don't see the world as the world is, we see the world as we are. However, our brain's been conditioned, which is like, say you're an artist, or you like buying artwork. You can see an art picture and see a lot more detail in that and get a lot more out of it than somebody who doesn't sort of practice looking at art pictures. So everybody's brain's different and everybody will see things differently. But another thing about perception is that we only actively see around about 5% of what we're actually experiencing. So unless you sort of actively look up at the lights, the bulbs and the curtains and examine all the pictures, all that's in your periphery. So your brain actually infers that data, it makes up that data. So unless you've actively looked at something, if we went into the next room and I asked you how many light bulbs are in this room, when you're regressing, your brain will actually make up, unless you've actively counted them beforehand, your brain will actually infer that information to the most logical. And so 95% of all your experience is inferred or made up. So with regards to regression hypnosis, the hypnotist will give suggestions to actually fill or outfill that inferred data, whereas the forensic hypnotist will just get those pieces of the jigsaw, if you like, of the actively seen information without getting any inferred or made up images, if that makes sense. Yeah? Obviously, it's a very complex process, the brain, so as I say, I'm oversimplifying it to the point that it's almost not true. Yeah, I'm just lying. There's no such thing as truth. So the alien abduction case that I'll be covering tonight, I'll actually be focused more on the hypnosis side of things. And with this case, we're fortunate enough to get something like 10 hours worth of hypnosis tapes from the sessions, plus loads of interviews and stuff like that. So you can actually research a lot of the stuff to see what kind of hypnosis was used, to see whether the hypnosis, the data is more realistic. Because as I say, it's like say if you've got a client and the client reports back, they're in hypnosis and they report back, I can see a car. The regression hypnotist might say things like, what colour is the car? Can you see a number plate? Are the people around the car? Is the car in a town or city, or is it on the pavement? Is it night or day? Whereas the forensic hypnotist, because he's using clean language, he's not able to give suggestions, so he'll just say, what can you tell me about the car? What do you notice now? What's happening now? So he's got to be very careful not to lead the client in any way, because the fact that this hypnotist was saying things like, can you see people around the car? The brain will start inferring whether that was logical things, so it can create a false memory. It's the same with a number plate. Maybe that person didn't actively see the number plate, but because the hypnotist has said, can you see the number plate? Obviously the logical thing is that there's a number plate, and the brain will actually create the digits in the number plate. So it might not necessarily be an accurate representation. But the person, the client, is not lying. That's what they're believing, because the brain's actually creating this false memory.
What happens if they recreate the number plate and it's exactly...
Well, yeah, as I say, with the regression side of things, it's sort of 50-50 on whether it was inaccurate, because if that person actively saw the number plate, then they'd be able to recall it. But because the hypnotist said, can you see the number plate? Then the brain might infer that information, whereas the forensic hypnotist will say, what do you notice about that car? If that person then says, oh, I can see a number plate, and I can see the digits on the number plate, and says such a thing, then that's a more accurate way of getting that information, rather than getting it like a sort of possible false memory. Yeah, so the alien abduction case is Betty and Barney Hill. So, as I say, it's very highly documented. I'll sit down now, so you can actually try and zoom in. Hold on. Yeah, so this is a signpost of where the actual abduction occurred. On that signpost it says Betty and Barney Hill incident on the night of September the 19th, 20th in 1961 in Portsmouth. This is Portsmouth in the US. Obviously all the characters will be in the US apart from the aliens who will be up there in Scotland. New Hampshire. Couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object and 2 hours of lost time while driving south on Route 3 near Lincoln. They filed an official Air Force Project Blue Book report of a brightly lit, cigar-shaped craft the next day, but were not public with their story until it was leaked in the Boston Traveller in 1965. This was the first widely reported UFO abduction report in the United States. So let's go back to the start. Yeah, so we'll focus on the actual characters now. The first character I want to focus is the actual hypnotist himself. The hypnotist was named Dr. Benjamin Simon. He was a psychiatrist. So, and with him being a psychiatrist, it doesn't necessarily mean he was a good hypnotist, but it does mean that he's very, very knowledgeable with the mind and psychosis, neurosis, and all these neurotic conditions. So, but luckily there's a lot of footage regarding him, including the hypnosis tapes, so we can actually examine what kind of hypnosis he was using, whether it was more forensic based or whether he was actually leading the client. So Dr. Benjamin Simon was actually, I haven't actually heard of him before I was doing this research, but he was actually featured in a post-World War II documentary called Let There Be Light, which is in the US, I believe it's US Army Archives or the US Military Archives, and it's about an hour long and it's available online. And I've took a clip of, a little snip of that, about 5-6 minutes long, and it shows Dr. Benjamin Simon in action with one of the war veterans, because obviously the documentary is all about the war veterans coming back from World War II with all kinds of, post-traumatic stress disorders and psychoneurosis and stuff. So I just want to play a few minutes of a video and to see what kind of hypnotist he was, to see whether he was any good as an hypnotist. So this should all.
Some patients require special therapy. Hypnosis is often effective in certain types of battle neuroses, such as amnesia. This man does not even remember his own name. A shell burst in Okinawa wiped out his memory. The experience was unendurable to his conscious mind, which rejected it, and along with it his entire past. Through hypnotic suggestion, the psychiatrist will attempt to evoke them.
Relax completely and put your mind on going to sleep. All right, now keep your eyes on mine. Keep your eyes on mine and keep them fixed on mine. Keep your mind entirely on falling asleep. You're going to go into a deep sleep as we go in. You're going to go into deep sleep as we go in. Now clasp your hands in front of you. Clasp them tight, 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 tight. They're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and as they get tighter, you're falling asleep. As they get tighter, you're falling asleep. Your eyes are getting heavy, heavy. Now your hands are locked tight. You're locked tight. They're locked tight. You can't let go. They're locked tight. You can't let go. When I snap my fingers, you'll be able to let go. When I snap my finger, you'll be able to let go, and then you'll get sleepier, and your eyes are getting heavier. Now your eyes are getting heavier, heavier, heavier. You're going into a deep, deep sleep. You're going to a deep, deep sleep. Deep asleep, far asleep. Eyes now closed tight, going to a deep, deep sleep, deeply relaxed, far asleep. You're far asleep. You're far asleep. Now you're in a deep sleep. You have no fear, no anxiety, no fear, no anxiety. Now you're in a deep, deep sleep. Now just sit down in the chair behind you. Sit down in the chair behind you. Lean back. Head now falls forward into a deep, deep sleep. Head now is falling forward. You're going further and further and further asleep. I stroke your left arm, become rigid like a bar of steel, and you'll go further asleep and further asleep. You're falling further and further and further asleep. Rigid. Cannot be bent or relaxed. When I touch the top of your head, that arm will relax and the other will become rigid, and you'll go further asleep. You'll be in a very deep sleep. And your sleep is deeper and deeper. And now when I touch this hand, my finger will be hot. When I touch this hand, my finger will be hot. You will not be able to bear it. Your arm is rigid. And now, as I touch your hand, you will no longer feel any pain there. It'll be normal. Now the arm is relaxed and you're further and further and further asleep. Now you're deep asleep. We're going back. We're going back now. Going back to Okinawa. Going back to Okinawa. You can talk. You can talk. You can remember everything. You can remember everything. You're back on Okinawa. Tell me what you see. Tell me. Speak.
I'm in the battery area.
You're in the battery area. Go on. Tell me what's going on.
Getting fire missions.
You're getting fire missions. Go on. You see everything now, clearly.
Getting shells thrown at us.
You're getting shells thrown at you. From where?
Jabs.
Japs. Go on.
Thrown at us.
Yes.
Thrown at us.
Keep on. You remember it all now. Every bit of it's coming back.
Japs getting near us to get our position.
Japs getting near you to get your position. Go on.
Told us to get cover.
Who told you to get cover?
BC.
BC. Go on.
There's 5 of us. One of the boys got hurt.
One of the boys got hurt.
Took him away. I was running over to my gun position.
Yes, go on. You remember it now. Tell me. It's all right now, but you can tell me. You can tell me.
Explosion.
Yes. You remember the explosion now. All right, go on.
They're carrying me.
They're carrying you. Who's carrying you?
I don't know.
Where are they taking you?
Carrying me across the field.
Across the field. Go on.
Put me in a stretcher.
Yes? Yes? Go on.
They're still throwing shots.
Yes? Can you hear them?
Yes.
You see them?
No.
All right. Where are they taking you now?
Put me in a truck.
Why are you fearful now?
I'm over.
You don't want any more. You want to forget it. But you're going to remember it because it's gone now. It's gone. You're back here now. You're away from Okinawa. You've forgotten it. But you remember who you are now. Who are you?
Dolly.
Dolly, that's right. Full name now.
Dominic Dolly.
Dominic Dolly, that's right. You know your mother's name?
Isabel.
That's right. Father's?
Salvatore.
That's fine. You know who they all are now. All right, now you're coming back with us. This is going to stay with you. You're going to remember it all. You're going to remember about Okinawa. You're going to remember about the shells and the bombs, but they're gone. You're at ease and relaxed. There's no fear, no anxiety. When I wake you up, you'll be comfortable and relaxed, no pains and no aches. But you'll remember all that I've told you. All that you've remembered. You can wake now. Well, how are you?
Pretty good.
Under the guidance of the psychiatrist, he is able to regard his experience in its true perspective as a thing of the past, which no longer threatens his safety. Now he can remember.
So yeah, I've played that for a couple of reasons. First of all, it gives us an insight into what kind of hypnotist he was. And it answers the question whether he was good and competent, and obviously yes he was. But also how I've explained about forensic hypnosis and regression hypnosis, he was getting the exact information like a forensic hypnotist, and then it was only after when he was when he retrieved the memories, because he's got to be very careful that he's not planting false memories. So you've got to be careful that that client doesn't sort of think that he's somebody else. So he needs to extract the exact information. And obviously all that was repressed due to post-traumatic stress disorder of bombs going off and stuff. And so yeah, he's very good, and he's very forensic in his approach. He knows exactly what he's doing with regards to the mind. So now I want to move on to the next characters, which are a newlywed couple called Betty and Barney Hill. Now I'll start off with Barney Hill first. Barney was he was retired from the military. I'm not sure whether it was the Army or the Air Force, but retired from the military. He was working as a postal worker. And he's also got an IQ, or had an IQ of 140, which is a very high IQ. And also, I've put some images there. You can actually see his facial expressions, and he's got the sort of face that you know, no reason to lie. You know, you'd sort of believe anything that comes out of him, what he says. You know, especially how his body language is on the photographs and stuff. And then you've got Betty. Betty was a social worker. She specialised in child welfare and adoption. And obviously a social worker, especially when you're dealing with children, you've got to have a certain type of intelligence. Because they've got to be very intuitive on who they're giving the kids to. So she's obviously very intelligent herself as well. And from what I can gather is when the actual incident happened, they were actually coming back from the honeymoon in Canada, but I'm not 100% on that. I just read somewhere that they were actually on the way back from the honeymoon, so they were actual newlyweds. So now what I want to do is play just one of the hypnosis tapes. It's the first hypnosis tape, and I'll pause it through a couple of parts. I need to sort of get into a different program, and I think this lasts for about 40 minutes, so I'll stop it somewhere so we can have a break. 22. So I'll stop it after about 20 minutes anyway. But I just want you to listen to the kind of hypnosis that was being used, whether was the hypnotist suggesting things, because as I say, I've seen a lot of alien abduction regression sessions where the client or subject is in hypnosis and they say, I'm lying down on a bed, and a regression hypnotist will say, can you see any medical instruments? Can you see any humanoid figures? Can you see any lights and dials on the spaceship? Whereas a forensic hypnotist will just say, what do you notice now? And that person might say, oh, there's a paramedic standing over me and I'm in the back of an ambulance. But because this hypnotist has said about, inferred that there's aliens, because they've used the term humanoid figures, and you've used, you know, lights and dials on the spaceship, that person now believes that they're actually on a spaceship. Obviously, I'm over-exaggerating the suggestions, but that's how it sort of works, how you can get a false memory. So you've got to be careful when you're trying to extract exact information. So, yeah, hopefully this will work all right. I've had to clean the audio quite a bit on this, because the audio is quite bad, but...
I don't know where we are. I don't even know how we got here. We've been driving, and I don't know how long, and we haven't even been talking. I just been sitting and something's going to happen. And I'm not really too afraid. Except right now I am. At that time I didn't feel afraid.
Why are you crying if you're not afraid?
I'm afraid now, but I wasn't. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid when I saw the men in the road.
Men in the road.
I wasn't so afraid in my life.
Tell me about the men in the road. It's all right now. You're safe here. Tell me about the men in the road.
We're driving along, we're on a town road. And all of a sudden, without any warning or any reason or rhyme or anything, Marty made he almost the brakes. I think he was wheel. He stopped so suddenly and made this sharp left-hand turn to the highway, and we went onto this narrow road. I was wondering what he was doing down here, but he wasn't saying anything, and I wasn't. I said, well, maybe we're lost, but so we'll come out somewhere. And we're going along, and there was a sharp curve in the road, and as we went around the curve, there were trees. There were a lot of tall trees on my side. I don't know about Marty's side of the road, but there were these men standing in the highway. And I wasn't too afraid when I saw them. They were standing there. And I thought, well, you know, there was baffle. There was, I don't know. And they were just, you couldn't get a good look at them. And I thought, well, you know, are they in a car? Is the car broken down? Or what are they doing there? And Bonnie first had to stop. And then he stopped the car. And these men started to come up to the car. They separated. They came up in two groups. And when they started to do that, I got real scared. And the car motor died. The car stalled. And when they started coming up, Bonnie tried to start the car. He tried to start it, and you know how a motor of a car would just turn over, and won't fire? And he tried to start the car.
He did what?
He tried to start the car, and it won't start. And the men are coming towards us. And I think, well, I can't get away from this. If I get the car door open, I can run in the woods and hide. And I'm thinking, and I just put my hand on the car door and open it. And the men come up and they open it for me. And they open the car door. And then very big man. And it's black. Next to me. And then two men behind.
I didn't hear that.
Two men. There's a car door. And there's 1, 2, 3 men. And then there's 1, 2 more behind them.
Yes.
And one man puts his hand out.
everything now. What do these men look like? Could you see their faces?
No.
How were they dressed?
Alike, some sort of.
Did they have on any uniform, or were they in ordinary clothes?
Like,
Uniform. Does it resemble any uniform you know?
I couldn't say. There's a couple of men behind me, and then this body.
So I want to explain what, because he was using suggestions there. He was actually saying, were they wearing, what did the faces look like? Were they wearing clothes? Were they wearing uniforms? What did the uniforms look like? And basically the reason why he was doing that was basically, if you think of hypnosis as sandwiched between awake and the sleep states. So it's like in a continuum. And so everybody, before they can go to sleep from the awake state, you have to go through an hypnotic state. And the same with when you're asleep and you wake up, you have to go through an hypnotic state. It's called the hypnagogic and hypnopompic states. And so basically we're drifting in and out of hypnosis all day long. And it's like when you're in the awake state, you can tell when you're sort of drifting because you start slurring. And it's the same with the hypnosis state. Some people are very good at talking while they're in the hypnotic state. Same with the sleep state. If you ever come across somebody who talks in the sleep, they're very sort of, you think they were awake. So that's why she sounds as if she's like consciously awake, because she's in that hypnotic state. When she was slurring and struggling a bit, she was actually drifting out of the hypnotic state. So Dr. Simon was actually guiding her, saying, I can't hear you, what's happening now? When that wasn't working, he was saying, did you see the face? And then when that wasn't working, he actually tried a bit with more suggestions to try and get her back into that hypnotic state. And obviously, as I've mentioned, forensic hypnosis is accurate enough to go to the court, but obviously Dr. Simon knows that Betty isn't being hypnotised to actually sue the aliens, basically. It's not go to court, so he doesn't have to need forensic hypnosis for that case. However, everything that he's doing so far is just repeating back from it to keep her in that hypnotic state. When she was actually drifting out of the hypnotic state, that's when he started using some suggestions that don't actually matter, they aren't necessary. So if she does make up what they were wearing, it isn't a big thing. So I'll just go back a few seconds, because you'll actually also notice that when he was guiding her and stuff, she stopped slurring and she was back in hypnosis. So this is her drifting out of hypnosis. Notice the slurring.
Uniform, or were they in ordinary clothes? Uniform. Does it resemble any uniform you know?
I couldn't say. There's a couple of men behind me.
Notice how she's gone back into hypnosis now.
There's a man on each side of him. And my eyes are open. My body's so asleep. He's walking and he's asleep. Thank you. he doesn't pay any attention. He keeps walking. And I keep going a little bit further, and I turn around and I say his name again. Marty, wake up. He doesn't pay any attention. And then the man who's walking beside me here says, oh, is his name Barney? And I turn around and I look at this man, and I think it's none of his business. So I didn't speak to him. Did we keep walking? And I try to wake Barney up again. He said, Barney, wake up. And he doesn't. So the man said, he asked me again, he said, is Barney his name? Then I would ask him, so that he said, don't be afraid. You don't have any reason to be afraid. We're not going to harm you. But we just want to do some tests. When the tests are over with, we'll take you and Bonnie back and put you in your car. You'll be on your way back home in no time. And so, I mean, he was reassuring in a way, but I can't say that I trusted what he said. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and we kept walking, and the body was still asleep, and then...
You mean he was walking in sleep?
Yeah, he was just like sleepwalking.
These men spoke good English?
Only one spoke, the one who was on my left. And then he was more like... He had an accent. He had sort of a foreign accent. But he was very, businesslike. So then I kept walking, and we came to a clearing. And there was I wish it was lighter so I could get a better picture of that. There was a ramp in the door. The object was on the ground.
The object was on the ground.
Yeah. I think it was a fair when I was watching in the sky. And there were trees, and there was a path, and there was this clearing. And this object, the clearing I could see just about filled up the clearing. And they're taking me up to the object. Now I don't want to go on it. I don't know what's going to happen if I go on it. I don't want to go. And I go up the ramp, and I go inside, and there's a corridor to the left. We go up the corridor. has a room, and they start to take me in the room. Some of the men, they come in the room with this man who speaks English and me. They stay for a minute. I don't know who they are. I guess maybe they're the crew. But they only stay for a minute. And the man who speaks English is there, and another man comes in. I haven't seen him before. I think he's a doctor. And they came in the door, and I think he's got, I don't know how our nervous system is, but I hope that would never have nerve enough to go around kidnapping people right off the highways like he's done. He tells me to take off my dress. And he told me to take off my dress, and then before I even have a chance hardly to stand up to do it, the examiner had my dress has a zipper down the back. Down the back. Yeah, it has a zipper down the back. And the examiner unzips my dress. It goes way down to my waist, the zipper does. And so I slip my dress off. And so I don't have my dress or my shoes on. And there's next over, away to the stool, and then there's sort of in the middle of the room is a table. The table. It's not up very high, but I'll say high to the desk. So I lie down on the table, on my back, and he brings over this how can I describe it? They're like needles. There's a whole cluster of needles. And each needle has a wire running from it. So then they roll me over on my back. And the examiner has a long needle in his hand. And I see the needle. And it's bigger than any needle I've ever seen. And I asked him what he's going to do with it. And he said, just a simple sensible therapy. And I asked him what. And he said he just wants to put it in my navel. And it's just a simple test. I don't know it will hurt. Don't do it. Don't do it. And even though it won't hurt. And he takes a nail into my navel. And I'm crying and I tell her it's hurting, it's hurting, it's hurting. Get out. And the leader, he goes over and he puts his hand, runs his hand in front of my eyes. And he says, I'll be all right. I won't feel it. And all the pain goes away. he goes away, but I'm so sorry for why they put that. I don't know why they put that long piece with my table. I tried to tell them it was, they shouldn't do it.
Did they make any sexual advances to you?
No.
They didn't.
No. I asked the leader, I said, why did they stick the needle in my table? And he said it was a pregnancy test. And I said, well, I don't know what they expected, but that was no pregnancy test here. And he didn't say anymore. So, the examiner he helped me get up off the table. And I swung around, and he gave me my shoes, and I put those on, and got down on the...
So I'll just pause it there a bit. So obviously all the information that she's coming out with, it's not from the hypnotist's suggestions, and she's going into a lot of detail. Obviously we'll stop for a break now, but in the second half of this first tape, she actually goes into detail on a lot of other things, including a star map that she actually saw. And I've got an image of the drawing that she made. I think it was just after she was in hypnosis or during hypnosis, and we'll look into that, because obviously this is proving that the hypnotist isn't guiding it and isn't building a false memory. So it's her memory. She believes that happened, but whether or not she was brainwashed beforehand or something happened that created a false memory is obviously debatable. So that's why you need to sort of take forensic hypnosis, if it goes to court, with other evidence as well, to just confirm that it isn't a false memory that was planted there. So yeah, we'll break now. It's 9:05. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.